It's May 26. This is The View with Catherine Chang. Today's topics are the conspiracy to disrupt Taiwan through the Hong Kong security law and proud to be Taiwanese. First, I want to talk about the conspiracy to disrupt Taiwan. Once the Hong Kong security law is established, Hong Kong becomes China. Like I said yesterday, in order to protect Taiwan, there may be a need to terminate the Hong Kong-Macau Relations Act. Now, KMT criticized President Tsai and accused her of giving up on Hong Kong. But that's not true. We know that President Tsai supported Hong Kong all the way through the anti-extradition law movement, and she said that there will be a full explanation to prove why KMT is wrong. My point of view is, once Hong Kong becomes China, of course, it is Taiwanese government's priority to protect Taiwan. However, the problems are, first, what if Hong Kongers seek residencies in Taiwan? If we terminate the Hong Kong-Macau Relations Act, will we establish a kind of refugee law? Second, investment from Hong Kong turns into like investment from China. And what about those enterprises affected by this? Furthermore, do you know that the Hong Kong security law is actually the restoration of Hong Kong's Basic Law, Article 23, 17 years ago? Former China Foreign Minister Chen Qizhen, he requested in 2003 for Article 23, and the first chief executive of Hong Kong, Dong Jianhua, introduced it because Act 23 caused a lot of controversial issues. There was a massive demonstration on July 1st, and the act stated that the Hong Kong should, kind of enact laws on its own to prohibit any act of treason and secession and sedition against the central government. So Dong Jianhua kind of failed and reacted this, and also it's kind of in September 2003, he kind of failed it. But 17 years later, the coming back of the national security law can bypass the Hong Kong legislation. So this bill will be voted this Thursday. Well, what about the situation? We'll be watching on it. And second, I want to talk about proud to be Taiwanese. And there's a new poll today saying that the topic is, I'm proud that I'm Taiwanese, not Chinese. And nearly 78% agree with this statement, and only 17% disagree. These are very significant numbers because, being proud of Taiwanese equals the recognition of Taiwan. Even CCC head Chen Shizhong shouted in Kending, 我台湾我骄傲. I'm from Taiwan, I am proud. Here are the top stories. Today we have 0 confirmed cases. White House says Beijing's proposed national security law for Hong Kong could lead to U.S. sanction. White House National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien said that the about the 1992 Hong Kong Policy Act. Well, I kind of started here. The 1992 Hong Kong Policy Act, the 2019 Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act both requires the Secretary of State to certify that Hong Kong maintains a high degree of autonomy. Under the current circumstances, it is kind of hard to see how Secretary Pompeo would make that certification. And if he fails to make that certification, there are consequences that come with it, sanctions and others. We strongly encourage China not to impose this law in Hong Kong. If they do, I can't see Hong Kong remaining as an Asia financial center the way it has been for many years. And Chinese Foreign Minister spokesperson赵立坚, he fought back and he said, what laws, how, and when Hong Kong should legislate are entirely within the scope of China's sovereignty. And the U.S., really have no right to criticize and interfere. If the United States insists on hurting China's interests, China will have to take every necessary measure to counter and to oppose this certification. And except for this, Chinese foreign minister, kind of accused U.S. politicians of pushing for a new Cold War. Chinese foreign minister Wang Yi, he said, it is time for the United States to give up its wishful thinking of, changing China or kind of stopping 1.4 billion people in their historic march toward modernization. And he said that, it is very important for them to say that some politicians ignore the basic facts and make up countless lies and conspiracy theories, concerning China. And also he said that, the call from the U.S. to stop, wasting precious time and stop causing people's life. U.S. political forces and are taking hostage of China-U.S. relations, kind of attempting to push the ties to the brink of so-called new Cold War. Wang Yi said, it is dangerous and it actually will endanger global peace. But I think those comments he made, kind of like what he said, that endanger global peace, etc. It is kind of like what we said, 做贼喊捉贼, which means that you are the thief and you call the police to catch someone else. Well,赵立坚also added that, he said, if the United States insists on hurting China's interests, China will have to take every necessary measure to counter and to oppose this. Well, except for this, let's take a look at the Representative Jim McGovern and the chair of the House Rules Committee treated bypassing Hong Kong's Legislative Council strikes at the heart of one country, two system. Beijing should reconsider the unnecessary escalation that will harm China and Hong Kong. And also he said the Trump administration must use this kind of authority in Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act and lead a global coalition kind of to, support the Hong Kong people. Now, let's take a look at this exercise, Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act now. Well, these many, recent developments indicate Hong Kong's one country, two system kind of deteriorating. Why is that? Let's point out. The first, national security law legislation and its Article 23, infringing freedom. In the Central Committee meeting in October 2019, CCP, that is the Chinese Communist Party, has committed to establishing law on national security, hinting the comeback of Article 23 legislation. And second, no sign of universal suffrage. No plans for direct and democratic elections for Legislative Council by 2020 or for the chief executive. Third, political prosecution of the democracy advocates. And also, we're talking about the three democracy advocates, including Jimmy Lai, Li Zhiying, were arrested. Fourth, repression of the whole thing that the freedom of press entirely, kind of denied for American journalists. And fifth, restricted freedom to run in election. We know that 6 Democratic Legislative Council members were disqualified in 2016 and 2017. And Joshua Wong, Huang Zhifeng, is banned from running in district council election in 2019. Well, here is a meme I want to show you. This is very interesting. This is the meme and saying that China is trying to destroy the autonomy of Hong Kong. And the one country, two system is dead. Please use the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. You can see from here, this is the thing that they say that to sanction officials who violate human rights and undermine Hong Kong's autonomy. And you can see from this that this is the Hong Kong protester inside the yellow circle. And what is this? It's like a red monster try to break the protection. Well, that is interesting. But, right now, I want to mention that today there are some people demonstrate in Hong Kong, and tomorrow they have the national anthem law for the second reading, and the day after tomorrow, they're going to vote for the security law. So I think for the coming 48 hours will be very important. We'll be watching it, and I hope you can tune in. This is Catherine Chang for today's The View. I'll see you tomorrow.